Welcome, everyone. Give me just a second to get everyone here out of the waiting room so they can join us. Looks like we're getting everybody in here live. And it looks like everyone is in a dark screen. So I would have a lot more fun on this webinar if I could see your faces. So if possible, turn on your camera. No judgment. You might be at home with kids running around in the background. It's fine. I would love to see your face as we train today. So Carlos, go ahead and kick us off, and then we'll jump into today's content.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Hire This Person, Qualities of Top ISA Talent with MAPS Coach Anna Krueger. Please note, this webinar is being recorded and will be available within 24 hours after this webinar has ended on the MAPS Group YouTube channel. The link to the YouTube channel can be found in your confirmation email, and we will also drop it in the chat. If you have questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's all for me, Anna. Take it away.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. Great to see you. I see 2 people on camera, so thank you. I'm excited to jump in today. So if you would put in the chat box where you're from and then what brought you to today's webinar. So maybe you're thinking of hiring an inside sales agent. Maybe you are an ISA. Yeah, I would just love to have some context for who we have here in the audience today. And then I know a lot of people will be watching the playback at a later time, which is great as well. But if you go ahead and drop in the chat box where you're located, what your position is, and then what attracted you to today's webinar, that would be fantastic. So to kick us off, I just want to introduce myself real fast for those of you that we haven't met yet. And then we're going to dive right into what are the qualities to avoid, what are the qualities to gravitate towards as you're hiring an inside sales agent, and basically how to make sure you get that hire right. So we're going to spend about 30 minutes on that today. Also, I love questions. So if you have a question or a comment, feel free to either unmute yourself, put it in the chat box. My plan is to teach for a little bit and then open it up to you guys with any questions you guys have left. Sound good? All right, so it looks like, ooh, Utah. I have been to Salt Lake City. It is beautiful. I was in Ogden. Did I say that right? So Michael, you live in a beautiful part of the country. Philippines, awesome. Welcome, international today. Pittsburgh, very cool. Looks like we have several overseas ISAs here. So let's go ahead and jump into what are we looking for in a talented ISA. So I'm actually going to share with you some slides from the class, how to hire, train, and retain ISAs. Now, I'm curious, just from my knowledge, how many of you knew that that class existed? Put in the chat box either yes or no. I'm learning a lot of people are unaware of that class. So I want to get better at making people aware. So if you would just tell me if you knew that that class existed, how to hire, train, and retain ISAs, just say yes or no in the box. So far, it looks like no one. Okay. I got to work on that. Good. I'll make sure you know about it by the time we're done. So the class is 5 weeks long, and we spend a portion on what are you looking for in an ISA. So you're going to get some slides from that today. So let me go ahead and share. And first, let's just identify what is an inside sales agent. So let me hear from you. You can either unmute or just type in, how would you define an inside sales agent? And I'm not looking for like a prescribed list of words out of a dictionary. Just how would you describe it? Anyone? Appointment setter. Hey Shannon, I'm going to hit mute on you real quick. You can unmute. I think you probably just didn't know you were unmuted. But if you have something to say, go ahead and unmute yourself. So appointment setter. Yeah, essentially that's what it is. So if you want to write this down, an ISA, inside sales agent, they really do lead gen, lead conversion, 75% of their working hours, okay? The reason I say 75% of their working hours is if they work 8 hours, that would be 6 hours of the day. You know, if they work 4 hours, that would be 3 hours of the day. So it depends how many hours they're working. Yeah, typically an inside sales agent, 75% of their day will be spent in the activity of lead generation, lead conversion. That could be a combination of calling outbound to, okay, expireds, which we don't have a lot of right now, but they'll come back eventually. Expireds, for sale by owners, maybe they're circle calling a neighborhood looking for someone that wants to sell. Or they might be dealing with inbound leads like ZBuyer, your KW command generated leads, maybe from Facebook, things like that. So that's really what an ISA does, is they work really any lead source that your team has 75% of their working hours. It's a great ad, because how many of you would say, and I can't see most of you, if you could turn on your camera, that would be awesome if you're able to. But how many of you would say, I have so many leads, I know I'm not calling them to the level I should. I know that I'm missing money because I'm working leads, Chris. Yes, I feel the pain. Guys, listen to this, okay? Write this down, because this is a metric you're going to want to remember. We know from Harvard studied this. We know that if you call a new lead 6 times in 6 days, you have a 90% contact ratio. Let that sink in for a minute. 6 calls in 6 days, 90% contact ratio. That is huge. So take a moment. This might make you a little sick to your stomach. It's okay. We'll fix it. But take a moment and think, okay, how many leads did I get just in the last 7 days? What's your number? Maybe write it down. And then ask yourself, of that number, how many of them did I call 6 times in 6 business days? Chris says 0, 00. Yeah, that's what most people say. That is what most people say, is 0 of them, or very few, if any. So there's an opportunity there, right? Think about how much money you might be losing if you only call them twice. We see a lot of times agents will say, this lead source is crap. They're not good. They don't convert. And in reality, it could be a fantastic lead source, but we're only calling them 2 times, maybe at best. And so we don't get to actually talk to them to realize they're a great lead source. Does that make sense to everybody? And then Shannon, I see your question. How many are mad? Good question. Here's one thing. If you don't have people annoyed with you at times, you're not calling enough, right? Like, you can be the perfect lead generator who has all the charm in the world, great with people, you're good at getting them to laugh and get into rapport, and there still is going to be someone who doesn't like you. And actually, it's not you, they're just that person, right? It's not personal to you. So I look at it kind of like, if I don't occasionally bump into someone irritated, I'm probably not doing my job enough. Kind of like as a teacher, if I don't have students that don't like me sometimes, I'm probably not talking to enough people, right? Because I can't please everyone, right? So that's one thing. But the other thing, Shannon, is in the Mastering Inside Sales class, which is a different class, that one's really for the ISA themselves. We go through a script on how to leave voicemails that are effective. So most people have never had a training on a voicemail. In fact, how many of you would say, I've had training on voicemails before? Anybody? And usually if someone raises their hand, they have taken Mastering Inside Sales. Most people will say, I've never had training on that. And so, oh, Shannon, awesome. Thank you. I think it's a fun class. So we haven't gotten there yet, depending which session you're in. But usually around session 10, 11, we start teaching how to leave voicemails that actually work. When you call 6 times in 6 days with a voicemail that actually works, they usually are very warm to your call because you've given them context. Where people get annoyed is when you call, you never leave a voicemail, they don't know who you are, and so it feels very salesy. But when you call with a strategy, with an actual script for your voicemail that's well written, it feels very professional, very rapport building. And so that is one big element. So anyway, just everyone think, how many new leads did you have in the last 7 days? How many of them did you call 6 times within 6 business days? And if you feel a little sick to your stomach, either we need to have you get more on your lead gen, or it might be time to hire someone. Yes, I love that honesty. I'm not calling enough. That's what most people would say. Yeah. And guys, I get it. If you're an agent, there is a capacity, like if you're lead generating in the morning as you should be, you're creating so much business that then your afternoon is servicing clients, right? So it's your actual lead gen is creating the challenge of calling those leads 6 times in 6 days, because now you have all these clients to service. So this is the very reason that some people then say, okay, it's time to hire an ISA. We'll talk about traits in just one moment, but one quick thing. By the way, you're getting a lot in a short time, so just write fast here. But usually you need 2 to 3 agents to support one ISA. And it's because if you have a talented ISA, they're going to be setting 1 to 2 appointments a day, which is 5 to 10 a week. Most of the time after they've been there for a while, they're closer to 10 a week. Well, think about it. If you're a single agent, it would be tough to actually manage all those appointments, correct? So we usually need to have 2 to 3 agents for one ISA to support so they have enough spots to put appointments. I used to work for 2 agents and they were both super busy. And like even before I came on board, our buyer agent had 70 closings with no ISA. I mean, think about it, that's insane. So even at 2 agents, I frequently found, I was like, guys, I don't know where to put an appointment for you because your schedule's full. And it was becoming a challenge. Good challenge, but it was becoming a challenge. So you usually want 2 to 3 agents per ISA. So let me go ahead and put up some of the slides from class. In fact, all of you that answered said, I did not know we had a class for this. So let me tell you just real quick. It's called How to Hire, Train, and Retain ISAs. It is 5 weeks long. And we not only talk about hiring, which is the focus of today, we also talk about how do you incorporate them into your team from a culture perspective? How do you train them? A lot of people feel like an ISA is like a unicorn and I don't know how to train them. I don't know how to lead them. That's what this class is for. So we want to not only help you hire the right person, really the majority of the class is once you've hired them, how do you keep them? Because what happens is a lot of teams, if I can just be really direct with you, I'm assuming you're here because you want help, right? So I'm just going to be direct with you. A lot of teams will find talent and then the behavior of the team causes that talent to hightail it out of there. That's just the truth. Is it okay that I'm being that honest? So if you're treating it as an entry-level position and kind of like their entry level, you will not keep a talented ISA, I promise you. Not a talented one. A talented one, there's certain things they're looking for from your team to stay. So in that class, we talk a lot about it. So I'll go ahead and put on the chat box real quick where you can find that class. And I'll talk more about it at the end. I don't want to interrupt our flow. But if you go to mapscoachanna.com, you'll see that class as well as the class for the ISA. But let's go ahead and get into now, what does a talented ISA look like from a personality standpoint? So a couple key traits. The first thing is they enjoy a challenge and they do not give up easily. One thing that causes people to fail with ISAs is they hire people that are really only customer service oriented. Now, can we all agree? I know we have some ISAs on this call. There is an element of customer service, right? Like I have to know how to talk to customers. But the thing is, I've coached enough ISAs where I'll hear them say, "Ooh, I feel bad asking for this sale." And that is a huge red flag, okay? We want people that understand it is a sales position. It is not a customer service position. I'm going to repeat that. This is not a customer service position because this is a client earning position. So I'm not servicing someone who's already within our organization and I'm just checking in on them. I'm actually taking people that are outside of our organization, working to bring them in to where they want to work with us. And so you really want to be careful as you're hiring. The number one thing I see that causes people to fail with this position is they go find people that are super, super nice. They love to help people, but they feel bad asking for the close. So just remember, this is a sales position, and baked into that, they like a challenge. A lot of ISAs, if I ask them, hey, what's the internal dialogue when someone picks up the phone and they're a little bit standoffish? Usually what I hear a talented ISA, they'll say, ooh, I want to figure out how to make them like me. It's almost like they get this rush from figuring out how to take this person from standoffish to laughing and we're in good rapport. Like it's a game, right? I see Shannon kind of smiling. I think, are you an ISA, Shannon? McLaurin? You are? I think you're muted. You are muted. You can unmute.
Yeah, I am. I'm new. I'm taking your course. I love it, but I've had a background in sales and they want to grow our team to have more. So that was kind of the going. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay. I love that you're here. That's awesome. Well, I saw you kind of smiling and nodding your head when I said, and I'm curious if you resonate with this, and if not, that's fine, because there are different personalities that excel in this position. But generally, a lot of times, ISAs like the challenge of, ooh, I'm not in good rapport with this person, and I'm going to get into good rapport. Let's figure out how to do it. There is an element of that. So look for people that love a challenge. They do not give up easily. Ask them their backgrounds. Are they a marathon runner? Have they been in sports? What is something hard in your life that you persisted? I don't really have a background in sports. So if you only look for people with sports backgrounds, you're going to miss out on people. But if you said, what have you done in your life that's difficult, and you persisted, I could answer you, right? And so you do want to find people that have maybe a sports background or something that shows, I know what it's like to be on a team, and I know what it's like to work hard and persist. That's what you're looking for, okay? You also want someone who is a relationship builder. So I did say this is not a customer service job, and that's true. It's a sales job. However, it is a long-term sales job, right? So I'm not going door to door selling vacuums. I'm not standing in a cell phone store selling a phone on the spot. This is something that's going to take 3-6 months of nurturing, maybe over a year of nurturing relationships, so that when they're ready, they come to us. So you do want someone that's good at relationship building. So it's kind of like you got to find someone who loves a challenge, but they also get the long-term game, right? I want the right now sale. And I also understand every single day I need to be building my pipeline. So there's an urgency, but also a patience. Does that make sense? So it's like you have to get it that this is sales and building the pipeline all in the same day. Okay, it is both. So they need to understand that. Also, they have to be results oriented. So if someone is okay not hitting goal, huge red flag. They have to be results oriented. And the number one thing I look for is a teachable spirit. I want all these other things, right? Like I want them to be results oriented. I want them to be a relationship builder. But the bottom line is if they do not have a teachable spirit, but they have everything else, it's actually not going to work. Here's a true story for you. It's also a tip for when you're hiring. So Shannon, you said you want to build a team. One thing that I recommend you do in the hiring process is give them a script and say, in our next interview, we're going to role play this script. Okay, and so give them a script. All that I'm looking for is I want to see that they actually studied it. Like if they really want this job, they're going to go home and put a lot of effort into getting that in their brain, right? Well, I did this once for an ISA candidate. We did not hire him because he came back to the next interview. And you know what he said when I said, all right, let's role play? He said, I don't like this script. I think it's really poorly worded. So I just made up my own script. I'm not going to use that one. So I was like, bye-bye. Not the right fit. Because there has to be an element of, I'm new and you have experience. And so I'm going to listen to what you say, even if it's uncomfortable for me. I'm going to listen because success breeds success, right? Success leaves clues. And so if you have someone in the hiring process that they start arguing with you about a script, that's a big red flag. I would not recommend hiring that person. So we have to have someone with a teachable spirit. The next thing, and this kind of goes with results oriented, but they have to have a high sense of urgency. What I mean by this is I have coached ISAs that have enormous talent. I would put them up against anyone. They know how to talk to leads. They know how to set appointments. But they're okay talking to 10 people a day and an entire day. That blows my mind. An ISA in reality should be able to speak to 40 people per day. 40 people a day is a very normal ISA expectation. So I've seen people with high talent, but they have no urgency. And so their talent honestly is being wasted because they're not getting in front of enough people. They take, 5 minutes between calls. They're slow moving. They're reading all the notes. And there's not that sense of urgency of I need to get my calls in so I can set appointments. So you want to make sure that you have someone with a high sense of urgency and they get it. I like to say 20 contacts before lunch, 20 contacts after lunch, then go home. That's a pretty good thing. it's almost like if you have someone who's a talented marathon runner, like they could even be an ultra marathon runner. They could do the 50 miles. They're that kind of person, but they only walk and they say, I just don't want to. And you're sitting there thinking, I see so much ability in you. Like you could maybe even be in the Olympics. You are so fast, so talented, but you won't stand up, right? Like it's maddening when you see that talent, but they're not using it. And so you have to find someone with a high sense of urgency. The last thing I'll tell you as far as how to identify talent is make sure you follow the career visioning process. Now, I think most of you here probably are familiar because that is a Keller Williams class, career visioning. If you're here and you're not part of Keller Williams and you're thinking, what in the world is career visioning? You don't have to be part of the company here to take that class. So we would still invite you to take that class. But there's a class on hiring called career visioning. And we absolutely recommend that you follow that process and then verify the KPA, which is part of that career visioning class. They tell you what that is. But basically, they take an assessment and it tells you how urgent are they, how problem solving oriented are they quick or fast moving, or quick or slow moving, you know, things like that. So the KPA, it's a personality assessment that helps you know what position they would be a good fit for. So in summary, make sure they love a challenge, they do not give up easily, they love to build relationships, they're results oriented and teachable with a high sense of urgency, meaning they move quickly, and then verify the process. Now, as I mentioned, you just got a little teeny tiny bit of the class. So let me just show you real quick. This is one slide out of the whole class. Here's the entire 5-week class. Look at all these slides that we're not talking about just because of time. So there are 51 slides in the How to Hire, Train, and Retain ISAs class. So there is an entire class for this. Most of you said, I didn't even know there was a class. So let me just show you real quick how to find it. And then I'm going to open up the floor for questions. So if you go to www.mapscoachanna.com, you'll see it right here. MAPSCoachAnna.com. It'll redirect you to ISAMapsCoaching.com. But MAPSCoachAnna.com, here's the class right here. How to hire, just X that out. How to hire and keep ISAs. Next class is July 8th. What is that, 2 weeks? I think it's 2 weeks from today. And you'll see it right here, has what to expect. It's $199. All classes are recorded on demand. If you can't catch it live, you can watch it. And you're welcome to join that class. The other resource, let's go back to, again, mapscoachanna.com. See this right here, Mastering Inside Sales. This is the class Shannon said she's in, and she said she loves it. This class starts August 4th. So this is really for anyone that does lead gen. So we have actually a lot of agents in there. We also have showing partners in there. Basically, if you talk to a human and your goal is to turn them into a client, that is the class for you. We even have some non-real estate people in there. Some of my friends from Facebook that are in different industries said, I need help with my business. Can I take that class? And I said, sure, it's geared towards real estate, but yes, it will teach you sales skill. And they actually are, they're some of the most active people in the class, actually. One of them has a photography business and she's getting stuff out of that class. So hiring, right here, how to hire and keep ISAs, how to train the ISA for lead gen or yourself, anyone that talks to people that needs to turn them into a client, take Mastering Inside Sales, and that will start in about a month. It sounds far away because it's August 4th, but it's really only about a month away at this point. Okay, let's check the questions box and open it up to questions. Okay, oh, business development, yes. Okay, Shannon, the other Shannon, Tilla says, I'm in it as well and work for KW Commercial. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I actually, what we teach in that class, I learned in a different industry as an inside sales agent in a different industry. And when I got into real estate, I just applied the same concepts and saw huge success. So it's not specific to inside, real estate inside sales. It's just a sales class. And we call it Mastering Inside Sales. Okay, so what questions do you guys have about the classes or about hiring? And we have 5 minutes. We can use up the whole time, or if nobody has a question, we'll go ahead and let you go early. So what questions do you guys have? Y'all are just dark screens. I feel sad. I can't see you. Okay. I don't see any questions. Shannon says bad hair day. I get it. I will admit, right before this webinar, I went and sprayed my hair and tried to fix it up a little because it was really frizzy today. So I get it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, hopefully I will see you guys in one of the classes. Honestly, teaching those classes they're honestly my favorite hour of the week. I love those classes. And what's neat in Mastering Inside Sales, we have a script partner network specific to people in that class. And just today, I talked to an agent at the Loken Group in Texas, and she said she's become such good friends with her script partner from that class who lives in Utah that they recently got together in person. So I thought that was so cool that the Mastering Inside Sales class is creating really a social network of community of ISAs, people lead generating, that are becoming friends outside of the class. They're script partnering together. It really just builds a community, and I think that's really important. Karma says, what questions do you like to ask in an interview to figure out that grit? I like to just say, tell me about something you did that was really hard, and how did you do it? So tell me maybe about a difficulty in your life, maybe some adversity that you overcame, and what was the head talk? How did you get yourself through that? And then honestly, when talking to references, I like to ask as well, so tell me, how does this person do if they face rejection? How does this person face adversity? And I find the references to be a great source for that as well. I think also when you're following the career visioning process, if any of you have been through that, it's not quick and easy, right? It involves a lot of time. I think by the time my team hired me, we spent about 8 hours together. And so even just observing them in that process can tell you a lot about their grit and determination. Good question. Anything else? Any other questions? All right, so I'll just remind you real quick, go to mapscoachanna.com. Also, so you'll see the 2 classes right here, how to hire ISAs, and then the class for the actual lead generator. If you scroll down, however, right here are free resources. I don't know why the heading's gone, but this is free resources. We have a blog, we have upcoming events. So if there's any, free classes, like today, this was under events. So you can see what's coming up here. So right here, here's the next class. So you can click there. So again, go to mapscoachanna.com. That'll be a quick spot for you to get all the info you need. Okay. Looks like we don't have any other questions. So hopefully I will see a lot of you in 2 weeks for the 5-week class of how to hire, train, and retain ISAs. And then again, Mastering Inside Sales will launch August 4th. It's only about a month away. It's almost July. Would love to see anyone that is on your team that talks to humans with the goal of turning them into a client will benefit from that class. All right, everyone, looks like we're good. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me today and hanging out, watching this webinar. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.